Hi, everyone. So I have the privilege of welcoming you to Fabulous 209 at the Library of Congress 24th Annual National Book Festival. I'm Kathy Milliken, and I and my team oversee fundraising at the library. So on behalf of all of us, we're thrilled you're here. This is definitely the most fabulous, the most fun of all of the 6 festival stages, if you ask me, but shh, don't tell the Librarian of Congress that. She's on the main stage, she thinks she's better. So, we hope you'll visit us at the library on Capitol Hill for one of our family days, which is one Saturday a month, when we offer fun activities based on the library's awesome collections and the equally awesome staff who are the experts. Our next family day is on September 14th, Saturday, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month from 10:30 to 3:30. It's entirely free and a lot of fun, and we hope you'll join us, so register at loc.gov. You can also be a part of helping us produce these free events. I'm head of development at the library, so you know what's coming, right? So if you want to help us produce these free events, such as the festival and the family day, by joining the Friends of the Library, please do. Just this week, the Friends helped sponsor an exceptional group of 19 librarians from around the world to the Library of Congress to share their stories and practices for serving the blind and print disabled. You could not find a more joyous, grateful, gracious group of people who are serving patrons across the world. So your support extends the reach of the library and allows people everywhere to benefit. So consider becoming a friend. We have a booth right in front of the exhibitor hall. But let's kick off our first session of this stage. I have the privilege, we have both the author and illustrator of a picture book, The Dictionary Story, with Oliver Jeffers and Sam Winston. And guess what? They joined us from across the pond. And we're so happy that they're here today. So, from people in the know, that's me. Oliver is here from Northern Ireland, or Northern Belfast. We were just chatting. I hope I got that right. Oliver is a visual artist and author working in painting, bookmaking, illustration, collage, and many other kinds of art. His picture books have been translated into over 50 languages and sold more than 14 million copies worldwide. Oliver's original artwork has been exhibited in museums across the world, and he's received numerous awards for his work. Welcome. Sam Winston is a writer and visual artist known for his work in drawing and typography, which is creatively working with letters and fonts. Who has a favorite font? Anyone? Calibri? Me? Okay. Is that a good one? No? Okay. I will ask him later. His work is held in many special collections worldwide, including New York's Museum of Modern Art, and is collected by your own very own Library of Congress. He created another book together with Oliver, the award-winning A Child of Books. What an amazing duo. So enjoy the festival, and let's welcome them to the stage. They're already here.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Oliver Jeffers, which is spelled like that. Where is it? Can you guys see my name on the screen? Just making sure it's all right? Okay, good. So both Sam and I work separately. We have our own independent practices. I do things like make books. You may have seen some books like this. And you know, there's what the inside of that looks like. I've always been interested in being a painter ever since I was a kid. That's the only piece of art that survives from my childhood. My dad is not known as being a collector, shall we say. But I always wanted to be an artist when I grew up, and I've always continued to make art, though books is probably what I'm best known for in this world. I suppose that makes sense because it's a book festival. But, you know, so sometimes some of my art turns into books, and sometimes my art does not turn into books. These are some painting projects I've made that have nothing to do with books at all, and sometimes books that I make have nothing to do with the art projects that I make either.
Do you?
Yeah. And then sometimes the reason I make books is like I just love the joy of simple storytelling, and the art I was making was about trying to understand the world around me. And sometimes, actually about 10 years ago, those things clashed together when I, for the first time, had a child. And I made a book called Here We Are, Notes for Living on Planet Earth, because at that moment in time I thought, you know, the world seems to be becoming an angrier place than usual. Maybe my son would benefit from knowing this. I benefited from remembering that It's a beautiful world in that, people may come in many shapes, sizes, and colors. We may all look different, act different, and sound different, but don't be fooled. We are all people. And I continued making work about trying to understand our world. And one of them culminated in this book that came out last year called Begin Again. And this is a nice segue into how Sam and my brains often overlap and think in the same things with very different ways of looking and making. So one page from that book says, our brains that would create words see patterns, tell stories, and invent the future.
Thanks, Oliver. So yeah, Oliver often works in painting, in like pencil drawing, line work. The thing that I really love drawing in is words, which sounds quite unusual because often, you wait till you read the words before the images start appearing, but I just kind of like jump the gun a little bit and start the images off before the words get inside your head. So I've been making work about language and storytelling for a long time and kind of like thinking, how do words and how does language shape how we read? And there's one particular project. Has anyone tried to write a story and really not liked how it's come out? I did that for a long time. So I did one version and a second version and a third version. And by 10 years later, I was like, I've maybe got to somewhere that's sort of interesting. So if you see the images, see all the words with all the page with all the words cut out. So basically, I finally did get to a few sentences that I liked, and I went through and cut out all the words. So the one word that I was looking for in this particular instance, here's me cutting out thousands of tiny words, was the word and. And then I got to an and I stuck all of the ands together, and I printed it on a very delicate Japanese tissue paper. And it sort of makes a sentence, which I will read to you. So the books I make, they're called artist books, and they're handmade, and sometimes there's only 30 of them, and they're very delicate, and they're often poetry or writing. So this is about 1 meter long, and if you were to read the clouds of words, it would say, I am a child of books. Full stop. So they were the words that I was looking for. It took me 10 years, cut them all out, and then put them into. It's a very slow way of working, admittedly. Quickly, this is the second book. Because I'm fascinated by language, there's over 7,000 scripts or ways of writing there's over 7,000 languages in the world, and there's about 300 scripts. And this is a story called One and Everything, which talks about stories, really. And these are some of the letter forms that go into, these are some of the ways that you can write and tell stories in other languages. The reason why I wanted to make a picture book in this instance is that a lot of the languages are going extinct, unfortunately. And unless we get a younger generation interested in other languages, other scripts, and other letter forms, then they will definitely disappear. So this book is very much about that. There's some of the art from it. Okay. The last thing I want to show is my practice. Do you know, when you read, it's kind of like you look at a bit of text and it's it looks a bit like that. It's unapproachable and it's quite solid. Yet when you read it, it feels very evocative and very emotional, and you get swept up in what the words are saying. So in this particular project, Romeo and Juliet, the play, I went through and I found everything that was said in passion from Romeo and Juliet, anything that touched my heart. I was like, okay, let's take all of that, and that doesn't really visually look like how it feels when I read it. So I took all those sentences, I cut them out into sentences, then I cut those sentences into words, and then those words into bits of words, and now you can see all the tiny bits of words, and then I stuck those down at a scale that was quite small. And then this is how it feels. That's the drawing that came from it. So that's everything that's said from Romeo and Juliet, every bit of passion.
It's a bit harder to read, though, admittedly.
Yeah. So that's both Oliver and I's background, and it gives a little.
There's a gentleman we know called Sam Summerskill, who looks like this, and we asked him for a picture so we could put it in to this talk, and
he sent us this.
Yeah, this is what he sent us. But Sam basically knew both of us and just said, "Do you know Sam Winston?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "I think you guys would get along. You think an awful lot along the same lines, though your work looks very, very different. So I think I will introduce the two of you. And so we did, and we met, and we're like, wow, it feels like we've always known each other. Our work is so similar in approach and what it means, but so different in how it looks. And by the end of that meeting, it was like, we should work on something together. I think that would be a fun thing to do. And so we did, and we decided that we would work on a project, not knowing what shape it would take, whether it would be a book or an exhibition or sponsored walk. We didn't know, but we got together and we started looking through all of our old projects to see for a little spark of an idea. And this is us very hard at work, just to prove to the publishers that's what we were doing when we would go on these trips, because I was based in New York and Sam was based in London, and those are not near each other. And if anybody works with anybody else, it's much easier to do it when you're physically there, so you can point at something. Anyway, we picked up on Sam's project called Orphan, where that first line was, I am a child of books. And we thought that there was something worth taking here that could work as a book that was primarily enjoyed by children. So one thing that I make picture books. I try not to call them children's books because I think that alienates people who aren't children. And some of the best books I've read on a number of subjects have been in the form of a picture book. So we decided we would make a picture book, but then how do you take somebody who makes type like Sam does, somebody draws pictures like I do, and two people who tell stories and put it all together? And
so yeah, we had this conversation, as in like, have you ever tried collaborating? It's like trying to make something in the sandpit together, and it can get a little bit testy, as in like, oh, I want to go. And we immediately didn't do that, so sharing's caring. So we were both like, okay, so what do you think? And Oliver turns around, so you know that sentence, I'm a child of books? Oliver turns around and shows me these images, which is what he thought a child of books might look like. And she's the girl in the picture. And there she is. And we knew that there was a boy in it, but the boy was a bit of a reluctant reader. So can you see how nervous he looks? He's looking a bit, and she's like, come on.
But there's a reason for that too.
As a dyslexic, so I'm dyslexic, which means that I always struggled with words, which is quite unusual to then spend the rest of my 46 years of life working with words. But, you know, it's a love-hate thing.
But dyslexic, people say, you told it to me, that was like, it's a superpower if you know what to do with it, in that most of the world's greatest designers, typographers, and architects tend to be dyslexic because they...
So if you're learning to read and you find it really hard to read, and you spend a long time looking at those little black squiggles going, is that going to be a cat? I don't know, it's just a semicircle and a triangle, then you get really good at what words look like. So I think that's what we forget, is words are pictures too. So here we have a child of books, and we would, so we had this line, the next, I'm a child of books, and the line was, I have sailed across a sea of words. And there she is sailing. But that's just Oliver's art, and we were thinking, well, that's not kind of, so what we did, and if there's any designers in the audience, we basically took all of that picture of the sea, and we put letters in, and each little red square you're looking at there is individually rotated letter. So that's like thousands and thousands of little letters. So we can make, we'll show you the art in a second, so we can make it. But we worked out a way of working together, which is sentences were planks, bricks were words, and letters were dust. And we would talk about bricks. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, so basically drawing like with Morse code and then figuring out how that would work in an image. So a drawing that looks like this would end up, after Sam's design, laying the type in, it would look like a mountain. And do you know, I think we should just read the book. Here,
Very good.
Read the book.
So here we have...
Does anybody here know this book, A Child of Books?
Yeah.
Great.
So, I'm a child of books, and I come from a world of stories. And we have this very keen reader. Upon my imagination I float.
And all of the, rather than just having it be random abstract text at this point, we're picking, the sea of words are all from classic children's literature. So in here, I think you've got Swiss Family Robinson, Sinbad,
20,000 Leagues.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, all children's stories related to sea voyages. And, you know, I thought it was like a wonderful thing to pay homage to this really old, the classic basis of literature, which also happened to be copyright free.
We wanted to use some newer books, but we thought someone might shout at us. So we have this, I have sailed across a sea of words to ask if you will come away with me. So you can see the child of books, and she's meeting a very sort of quite scared reader. I'm not sure about that. Some people have forgotten where I live, and then we have a very serious man reading some very serious stuff. Oops. But along these words I can show you the way. And for those of you, has anyone Alice in Wonderland, the mouse's tail? Do you remember what the mouse's tail looks like in Alice in Wonderland? It's a shape that looks like a mouse's tail. So here...
Made of words. So that's the first example that I think we know of where they're, what is it, concrete?
Concrete poetry, kind of, it's not, yeah. Yeah, in mass market print, it's a very famous example. Yeah. So that's the mouse's tail. And now this boy's going on a bit of an adventure. We will travel over mountains of make-believe. And these mountains are made up of a conversation between Peter Pan and Wendy about whether they should believe in fairies. Discover treasure in the darkness. Treasure Island is what the cave is made from. And we can lose ourselves in a forest of fairy tales. Can you look at that picture? Can anyone see what the trees are made out of? Books. What are books made out of? Trees. Love it. An escape from monsters in haunted castles. And what?
It's like Frankenstein and some others, like the horror stories, monster stories.
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, yeah.
And then the children are escaping on a sentence from Rapunzel, let down your hair. We can sleep in clouds of song and shout as loud as we like in space. For this is our world we've made from stories. And this really is the heart of the book. It's basically that lovely point when words come alive in your head and they make amazing pictures.
And, well, actually, there's a one page left after this. Our house is a home of invention where anyone at all can come, for imagination is free. Now, we thought this book was going to be basically impossible to translate into different languages because of all the type, but people give it a go. And so this is the Italian version. And if you look at the words in the cave, usually the screen's behind us when we're talking about this. If you look at the words in the cave, and then if I show you the Arabic version, not only did they have to sub out the handwriting, but every single word that used to make up the landscape. And not only that, different cultures would replace those books for stories that made sense in their culture. So, you know, in the Japanese version, they didn't necessarily want to put in Treasure Island, so there was a different story completely. All sorts, there's the Chinese, Greek, and it became this really lovely, passionate project for people with a love of words. And so there ended up being a bunch of co-editions when we thought there wouldn't be one. So we took this as a challenge. And we decided to make a book that will be harder to translate.
Not intentionally, it just turned out that way.
Okay, we've only got 10 minutes left, so we should,
Yeah.
because we do want to read the book.
So we do, yeah. So I had been working with the dictionary for a long time, and I really love the dictionary in the sense that it's got every single word that you can say. It's a bit like us, but when you try and say it, it can get a bit fumbly, as in boo, and you don't say it in the right order. So I just thought the dictionary is very similar to our predicament. So I've done some art books and that's a 22-year-old me doing a dictionary. This is a sculpture, again, with the Oxford English Dictionary, but folded in on itself. And then these are some other pictures. Shall I do this story?
Yeah, do this story.
So at some point, I went to a place called Oxford University Press, where they decide the Oxford English Dictionary, which is the dictionary in the UK at least, a bit like Webster's, is the dictionary that basically you look up all your words in. The woman shows me around the whole building, and then she shows me this one room, and she says, this is the room where the words that aren't in the dictionary are kept. Hands up who knows a word that's not in the dictionary. We went there.
Well, yeah.
Go on.
No, and it looks like this, and it's like just this such a lovely notion that language changes, and sometimes words go in and sometimes words go out, and unfortunately some of the words that have come out in recent years have been words like
acorn and adder and blackberry,
and words that have gone in have included
spreadsheet and celebrity.
Yeah. So anyway, that aside, we both knew that there was something in this version of a story, a dictionary that comes to life, because it's not like you read a dictionary from start to finish. Although I tried to read the entire dictionary on the flight on the way over. but I couldn't finish. I got up to pee.
He does it every talk. He does it every talk.
Thank you, thank you. So we got together and we're like, there's something in this, and we can have this same celebration of a typography landscape where these characters interact, but this time we can be a bit more fun and a bit more sort of chaotic. And we came up with this story called A Dictionary Story that is the story of basically the dictionary that wants to tell a story but doesn't know where to start. And there's a couple of things that went into the art making practice of this. There was photographs, there was typography. The central character in the book is a dictionary. And we had Sam's partner, Hain Song, is a very accomplished bookbinder. And so she made us this copy of the dictionary from scratch that we could use to photograph in the book.
And the dictionary, the dictionary starts very clean and pristine, and then slowly it gets slightly worn, and unfortunately it becomes a much more worn out type of, well, yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
Story.
This became a central element to this, the photograph of the book. I am going to, I think, because...
Let's read it.
So yeah, I think let's read it. Let's read it. And then we'll go into some of the bits afterwards. So this is A Dictionary Story by Sam Winston.
And Oliver Jeffers, and it's the first time ever in this place that it's ever been read. So you're the first people to listen to it.
Most of the time, all of the books knew what they were about. But there was one book who was never quite sure of herself. The dictionary had all the words that had ever been read, which meant she could say all the things that could ever be said. Yet, when you read her pages from first to last, she didn't tell a story like the other books. Which is why one day, this dictionary decided she would bring her words to life.
Uh-oh.
She was just wondering where to begin when alligator appeared and, being hungry, walked off in search of a snack. Smelling something delicious from the deep pages, alligator wandered that way. Donut saw him coming and, deciding he did not want to be eaten, rolled away further into the dictionary.
Oh, sprinkles.
As Donut tumbled through Ghost, waking him up from a long nap, Dictionary thought how exciting it was that a story was finally happening on her pages. Now awake, Ghost was quite confused.
Huh?
Donut, meanwhile, kept rolling on through the pages with Alligator in hot pursuit. They made it all the way to the moon, who was surprised to see words from the start of the dictionary this far back. What are you two doing here? She wanted to know. But before any of them could answer, Ghost floated into the scene and gave everyone an awful fright.
More sprinkles.
Moon hid behind Cloud, it seemed the most obvious place, and poor Cloud, who didn't know what to do, started to cry on the spot. Alligator and Donut simply took off again, and poor Dictionary could barely keep up. Alligator was over halfway through the dictionary before he finally caught up with Donut, who still did not want to be eaten, but Queen, who was too busy ruling, got in the way. The collision caused Queen to slip on some soap, sending her ruler one way and soap the other way. Ruler flew back through the dictionary, past Puddle, who Cloud had made crying.
Oh, hello.
And landed on ink with a messy splat. Oh dear, thought Dictionary. She was not enjoying this so much anymore. It was all starting to get a bit out of hand. And that is when Soap landed on top of Tornado, waking him up, who was as usual in a very bad mood. Hearing the noise, Viking, Umbrella, and Walrus popped up just in time to get swept up in Tornado's terrible tantrum.
Uh-oh.
Tornado flung Alligator to the very back of the book, startling Zebra, who made a bolt for the beginning. It was chaos.
Should we do some? So the thing that you're watching underneath of the book is all these words, and they're actually alphabetical words. So when Ghost appears...
So it's the dictionary that's just been knocked on its side.
And Ghost has a definition, but we didn't want to do just normal, straight definitions, so we basically decided to rewrite all of the words in the book. So one definition is zero. Zero is a word that means nothing. Nothing is a word that means nothing. Even though zero is a different word from nothing, both mean nothing. This definition has mostly talked about nothing.
This is not what Dictionary had in mind at all. She just wanted to tell a story, but now nothing was in the right place or even making sense. Her words would be no use to anyone now, and she needed to get things back in order. Thankfully, Dictionary knew just who could help. Her friend Alphabet. Alphabet had a song with all the letters in it, but few words at all.
Who knows a song with all the letters in it, with few words at all? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yep.
And the song, as everyone sang along, and in case you don't know the song, that's the sheet music for it down along the bottom of the art, which is also the sheet music for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Helped put everyone back together again. After a few verses, all the words settled down in their proper places once more. The dictionary was a dictionary again, and she was happy to let other books use her words to tell their stories instead. Books like this one.
Which is the dictionary story.
But every now and then, Ghost and Puddle would just sneak it at night for a quick rendezvous.
I missed you too.
The end. So, thank you. So yes, we decided to rewrite the dictionary. And this book did take a long time. It took about 8 years to make. And with hindsight, I suppose that's probably because we got the guy with dyslexia to rewrite the dictionary. Each word in there is its own separate definition that we've rewritten. And there's a secret story in the end pages. Can you read that? Do you want to take a second?
I could read it from a book.
Okay.
You're
You're attached to the chair.
They plugged me in. So at the end papers, it looks like the dictionary definitions, but if you read all the bold words, it actually says, the first words were born inside our heads, where they wriggled around a long time and slowly crawled out of our mouths and into the ears of other people. So it talks about all sorts of things. Let me just read you the definition of the word book, because that's a lovely thing to have in your life. Sheets of paper bound together inside a cover. The sheets of paper usually have writing or pictures on them. Some books tell stories, and other books are full of facts. Many books live on shelves, and some can be found in shops. The place books like gathering together the most is called a library. Libraries are a bit like forests. They're enchanted places to get lost in. Books, like forests, can help people.
I think you're speaking to the right audience with that one. But there's a couple of different things about this book that I think have sort of come at an interesting time, which is that this book, I suppose, looks at about the importance of words and how definitions have consequences, especially in a time that it seems as turbulent in the world as it does right now. But one of the other things that I think that is important to think about this book is, like, if you look at the arc of the story, nothing actually changes for the dictionary. She's the dictionary at the end, just as she was at the start. The only thing that changed was how she thought about herself. So the story that she told herself changed everything. And I think there's something really important in that. And maybe we could have saved this whole endeavor by just listening to the Joni Mitchell song, "You Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone." So that is the dictionary story, and I think that is all the time that we've got. So thank you, everybody, for coming. All right, pal.
Nice indeed.